Nothing prepared me for what was to come. From the very first moment, it became clear that this is going to be my kind of a game. This doesn't often happen, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears from the sheer beauty I was witnessing. I got choked up from the very first scene.
If you're gonna give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die.
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
Ooh, dark. Sophie would approve. Hey, you said it, not me.
The interaction between the characters, the music, setting, it was all just so soulful, so emotionally powerful. Clair Obscur tugged on my heartstrings like few games have. The emotional impact and grip the game had on me from the very beginning only kept strengthening and growing as I was playing through the game. Guys, I could care less about mechanics and combat systems and parrying, dodging, or what have you when I am experiencing a game like this. Clair Obscur is first and foremost a deep personal story about life, family bonds and family love while dealing with loss of unimaginable proportions. But the story also tackles questions such as free will, sentience, what it means to be alive, what it means to create life itself, and the consequences of doing so. Now, as generic as this might sound in this day and age, considering many of these aspects have already been explored in stories many times over, the way Clair Obscur in particular tackles these issues is on a whole different level, when it comes to storytelling in gaming at least. Though inspired by Japanese RPGs, some of the things Expedition 33 does with its storytelling and writing far surpass the games that inspired it. Although great, Japanese RPG characters, in my opinion, more often than not, feel a tad distant, artificial in the way they interact with one another, in the way they talk and express themselves. Now, perhaps that is due to translation or cultural differences, as we see the same even in the best of the best anime. Clair Obscur's characters are different. They feel alive, they feel real, from their facial expressions and body language to their tone of voice and behavior, the way they talk and interact with each other, it all feels so human and emotionally tangible.
You okay? You've been quiet since we left the village.
Yeah, sorry. Just bad memories.
Wanna talk about it?
No.
No.
You relate to these people, understand them, even if you don't always agree with them. You witness and participate in conversations with these people who have their own lives, their own hearts, desires, experiences, and it all somehow comes together very clearly. It's easy to say that these are very well written and relatable characters. It goes beyond just that. You feel the weight of their past experiences, of their emotions and hopes for the future on a whole different level. They are more than just talking NPC nodes whose relationship levels you're increasing to get new attacks and skills. They're people whose words and actions matter and carry emotional weight.
You seem better than before.
Yeah. Holding it together.
And yet there is another layer to the game's dialogue, character interactions, facial expressions, and body language too. There is masterful foreshadowing at every turn, in almost every dialogue, in almost every scene.
To what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
We're heading for Old Lumiere.
Okay, bye.
Hey, come on. Hey.
I have never seen such nuanced and subtle writing that says so much in a video game before. Rich in emotion and imagination, the world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is going to amaze and intrigue the player at every turn. And how could it not when the very core of the game's world, story, and execution are pure emotions and art itself? All this is even more strongly enhanced by the exceptionally powerful and memorable soundtrack, which features both incredible musical tracks and full complete songs, each of which is full of immense meaning and directly relates to the game's world, story, and characters. Clair Obscur feels like some of the old European books my grandma would read to me as a kid, many of which unfortunately I don't remember anymore, but I do remember how they made me feel. It also reminds me of the paintings I'd see at art galleries with my grandpa. Being raised by my grandparents, highly educated Macedonian doctors from Yugoslavia times, Russian, Italian, and French art and literature played a huge role in my upbringing and early home education. Now, if only I remembered most of that stuff. That's why all throughout Clair Obscur there is a very strong, very familiar sense of nostalgia for a more elegant, more artistically rich and intelligent world that is long gone now. No, this isn't your typical RPG world. Neither the setting nor time period is something we often see in the genre or in gaming in general for the most part. The game's world opens up gradually, offering main and side content at an excellent pace, slowly introducing new mechanics, characters, and concepts to the player while pretty much never overwhelming or going too far with info dumping, which is very important to me. Artistically though, while very beautiful, Clair Obscur does fall short in some aspects. Now this is not a huge criticism, but I do want to talk about it. The world is certainly brimming with creativity and many of the locations we visit fascinate with their unique look and atmosphere, but given the game's root in art itself, I believe a lot more could have been done to enhance and improve the visual experience of the game. For starters, even though I understand that the artists are going for an oil painting look and feel for the visuals, oil paintings come in all shapes and sizes, and more vibrant colors could have gone a long way to improve the game's overall visual experience. I'm not saying the color palette should have been as vibrant or varied as that of, say, Visions of Mana, for example, but the colors are there. They're just suffocated by an ever-present yellow tint, which we see in modern gaming a lot. The use of bloom, the effect that makes everything have this faint glow around it, was also a bad choice in my opinion. Sure, the effect can be used from time to time here and there for certain things, but here it's way too common, dulling the overall visual experience quite a bit. In areas where the yellow tint isn't present, the game looks so much better. Of course, the bloom effect is almost always there, unfortunately. Now here's an area on the world map where there is no yellow tint, but the bloom effect actually looks good. It gives it that morning haze feel, and this area looks absolutely gorgeous. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that yes, bloom can be used in certain areas, in certain places to achieve a certain effect, just don't use it everywhere. In fact, the overuse of bloom makes it difficult to see the characters in a few of the bonus areas that feature a static camera, which leads us to the final and, in my opinion, the most disappointing aspect of Clair Obscur's visual identity. The game does not benefit from an over-the-shoulder third-person camera. Clair Obscur is all about the visual arts, its story, setting, its environments are full of incredible artistic elements. So instead of utilizing a fixed camera with fixed camera angles and ensuring that pretty much every turn, every angle as we explore the world and dungeons is an artistic sight to behold, carefully guiding the player's gaze across the screen with its composition as static camera angles do, we are thrown into a generic third-person perspective to appease the general public. The few areas that do feature static camera angles prove that the game would be amazing if done entirely like that, but clearly in the interest of mass appeal, this is not the case. Look guys, Clair Obscur, despite its flaws, is a lovely looking game. Its world map is one of the best I've seen in RPGs, but had it not been trying to appeal to the average person, it could have looked even better. It has the character designs, environments, artistic talent and artistic merit to look jaw-dropping even with the use of something as generic as Unreal Engine. But design choices and marketing that needed to appeal to a wider audience destroyed the chance at a unique and amazing look. Just imagine how great the game would have looked with fixed camera angles, or at least a more frequent use of such angles. Sure, gameplay would have been different, it would have undergone a few changes, but that would have been just fine. Speaking of gameplay, Clair Obscur isn't just a great story, but it's a great game altogether, and that includes its gameplay as well. Each of your party members has similar but unique mechanics. Some are going to be more and others less complex to use. Depending on your own preferences, you might enjoy diving into the more complex characters, or, as I did, stick to the easy ones. There are plenty of skills and moves that can be learned throughout the game. The characters acquire their skills as they level up. A few are obtained by improving their relationship through dialogue in the game's camp, and my favorite character, Monoko, is a blue mage type character who learns his skills by defeating enemies and collecting their parts, in this case their feet for whatever reason.
He transforms by collecting their front feet. Don't ask me how it works. I've never understood.
A character can have 6 active skills equipped in battle out of their entire arsenal, and essentially an unlimited number of passive skills if you earn enough points to allow allocation of as many passive skills as possible. Now, I won't dive too deep into this stuff, plenty of YouTube videos already explain the game's mechanics. I'm more interested in the emotional aspect of the game itself. Bottom line is, with enough dedication, enough farming and grinding, you can massively overpower your characters, which to me is a great thing. I hate parrying, yet for the most part in Clair Obscur, parrying was surprisingly easy and satisfying, with a huge window for doing so and some very helpful audio cues if you learned to listen for them. This made it so that for the majority of the game I did not have to use that trainer I thought I would need. I expected the trainer would be a must for me, but fortunately it was not. In fact, given the game's flexibility in building your characters, parrying doesn't have to be as important as you initially think. If your characters are strong, have the right skills, both passive and active, you will be just fine even if you're unable to parry many of the incoming attacks. If parrying is too much for you, you can then just dodge. This won't give you the same benefits as parrying, but it's more forgiving. The game offers many different weapons, both active and passive skills for the characters, allowing for all kinds of varied builds. Weapons can be upgraded, stats can be allocated at will, though it's best to allocate character stats according to their best weapons, as weapon strength scales with certain stats, which are clearly indicated for each weapon. The player will have to change their character's builds several times throughout the game, and while the items required to do so appear to be limited initially, I believe near the end of the game you can farm an infinite number of them, or at least a huge number of them. And even if they are finite, there are so many of them that unless you keep changing your build for every battle encounter, you will be just fine. I cannot stress this enough. Do not forget that there are ways to enjoy the majority of what Clair Obscur offers without having to force yourself to parry all the time, and that's a great thing. This does not apply to some of the optional bosses though, especially the most powerful super boss, but I just did that one with a trainer myself and I feel great about it. It was way too much and I still wiped my first time and almost lost the second time around as well. I won by a hair, even though the trainer was doing the parrying for me. So you know what? I'm glad I used the trainer. I'm glad I bought the game for PC and not PS5, because PC allowed me to beat the final optional boss. Landing a successful parry can definitely be very satisfying, and managing several in a row just to witness a powerful counterattack at the end is very rewarding and fun, but I would have liked the game better if there were no parrying or dodging mechanics whatsoever. As fun as it is, sometimes I just want to kick back, relax, and play my turn-based game like a normal turn-based game without worrying about modern-day mechanics, without having to time my parries or dodges. So no, I don't give Clair Obscur any extra points for having a decent and fun parry system, because I just don't care about such things, and I would have been happier if the parry and dodge mechanics did not exist, even though they did prove to be much easier than I initially thought they would be. Clair Obscur is a direct result of what happens when people are fed up of a gaming industry that almost seems like it's trying to kill gaming intentionally. It arrived in a world where AAA, mobile, and even some indie developers are willingly killing creativity in video games for a quick buck. Guys, we see it everywhere. Unified, creatively bankrupt, or overly forced art style choices, dull and generic worlds, often tedious, somehow seemingly popular gameplay mechanics shoved into everything in order to cater to influencers who will then scream in their mics promoting these games among the equally dull and creatively bankrupt masses. Clair Obscur isn't completely exempt from this criticism, as we already saw, but it does so many things better than most games nowadays. The developers managed to implement just enough popular trends into the game for the average gamer to get hooked by making currently popular and, to me, unappealing gameplay mechanics the front and center of the game's identity. They even threw in some really shoddy, albeit optional, platforming into the mix to supposedly appeal to streamer culture, as a friend of mine suspects. Initially, I had absolutely no interest in the game, and practically nothing about its marketing appealed to me, yet it reached so many other people. I genuinely hate quick-time events, and we have those in combat. I hate parrying, dodging I can sort of tolerate but could live without, and the last thing I want is these mechanics in my turn-based RPGs of all things. I mean, come on guys. Yet here we are. There had to be some way to market to the masses obsessed with these mechanics, and Sandfall succeeded. I'm just glad they didn't do crafting, open world, and survival mechanics too, because I wouldn't have bought the game then. Not even the best story can convince me to buy survival games. God, I hate that genre. You know, I almost didn't buy Clair Obscur. I was convinced that this was not a game for me, that I wouldn't be able to do the parrying, that I wouldn't be able to do the dodging. I was already having a hard time, if you remember. I couldn't do Sekiro properly, so I had to use easy mode for it. So before buying it, because I was intrigued by the story and setting, so before buying it I figured, you know what? Let me check if there is a way to make that parrying go away. And fortunately, a trainer did exist. I ended up not needing the trainer for anything other than the final optional boss. As you can see, that marketing of theirs, the focus on these mechanics just didn't appeal to me, and I almost missed out on an absolutely incredible game. And I'm glad I bought it. So many indie developers try to create artistic games nowadays, and pretty much all of them fail at capturing emotions and giving their games a soul. These games do end up looking good, they are intriguing, but ultimately they are hollow, forced, artsy experiences with no heart, no soul, nothing to remember them by. Clair Obscur is absolutely brimming with soul right from the start. It sets its characters up so well that you grow to care about them and feel for them right from the very beginning, something so many games fail to do properly. Clair Obscur is such a powerful experience that it will stay with you long after you finish the game. So guys, play this game. Even if you haven't played an RPG before, give it a chance. Cheat if you need to cheat. Set it into the easiest possible difficulty, but do not deprive yourself of the incredible experience that is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.